Good evening, YouTube. And yeah, it's your spectacle wearing, curly haired, like my curls are coming back. I mean, I took a haircut and like now they're back. And it's been a while since I've been here. I mean, I'm like sort of increasing the intervals to about 2 weeks or so right now before making videos because the exciting news is that my book is nearly finished and like I am just tying up a few loose ends. There are a couple of more stories I want to tell, and like after that, I think the first draft, which is like the big thing, okay, and like yeah, the first draft will be over. But today I want to talk about my past and a little bit about luck by chance, serendipity, if you will, because so like yeah, so I'm just adjusting the lavalier. Yeah, so like Haruki Murakami, and I am on the fence about Murakami because so I've read Norwegian Wood and I loved it. I've read Norwegian Wood twice. First when I was 17 years old, and then when I was about 27 plus. I mean, I'm gonna be 28 this year. So I read Norwegian Wood earlier this year, and like the 10-year gap and the way the book spoke to me, I mean, suddenly, like, I'm gonna quote Srija here and like just say that, like, a totally different dimension of the book came to me, all right, and like, so Norwegian Wood, when revisited at 27 plus, was a whole different ballgame. There were so many things that I had missed when I was 17, maybe because I was too immature and all that. But in that 10-year gap, so I read three more Murakamis. I read Sputnik Sweetheart, which I liked. Mm, but like Sputnik Sweetheart was a long time ago. I mean, all I remember is like there was a little bit of surrealism involving a Ferris wheel and ultimately a phone booth. That those are the two images that strike me the most. So I think I'll go back to Smoothnik Sweetheart, and like then I read this novella called um, The Strange Library, and I found that to be very interesting. And and then I come to the third Murakami, which I read, and that is Kafka on the Shore, the story of Kafka Tamura, a 15-year-old boy who runs away from home and has a wild adventure. And on the other hand, there's a co-protagonist Nakata, who's how should I put it? Subject of an experiment. Not even an experiment, like survivor of an accident. All right, yeah. So survivor of an accident, a very weird Roosevelt incident type thing that happens to a bunch of his school kids when he was, a little boy, and like it's affected him clearly. And so there's an element of mystery about Nakata's character. But like of these Murakamis, all right, I could not get into Kafka on the Shore. Now, I am aware that Kafka on the Shore is perhaps one of his most acclaimed works. But for some reason, all right, I mean, Kafka on the Shore and me, we were at loggerheads. I mean, we were repelling each other harder than a bus bar would get repelled by magnetic repulsion. All right. Yeah, I mean, I am an electrical engineer, sue me. So that is where I was like, you know what, bad investment. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I won't. Hmm. Let's see. I'll talk to you later, Kafka. All right. I mean, I gotta hang out with your namesake for a little bit, get myself a little metamorphosis, maybe talk about the trial, and then I'll come back to you, Tamura, and then we'll see. I think it was the fact that he was 15, and when he goes into the library and meets the curator of the library and develops a relationship with her, that was what weirded me out. I mean, she's in her 30s, he's 15, and a part of me was like, pedophilia. And yeah, so that is where I was like, dude, pause button. And like, I hit that pause button and I didn't press play. Now, I was living in Asansol at the time when I purchased Kafka on the Shore, high on the trip that Norwegian Wood was, and I think I was in first year or second year college at the time. And so yeah, I went to Durgapur, a small township, not a small township, an industrial township next to Asansol, en route to Asansol, and I picked up Kafka on the Shore from the bookstore at Durgapur Mall, Junction Mall, Durgapur. I think it was a Story outlet. So Story is like this, not massive bookstore, but like a bookstore that has got a good catalog, and there are like outlets in Kolkata, and there was an outlet in the Junction Mall, Durgapur. I remember this clearly. I even remember that I was using a Xperia E3 at the time with a 5 megapixel camera and a buttload of bloatware. And I took a photo of Kafka on the Shore and I uploaded it to my Instagram. It's somewhere in the archives. I mean, I have 1027 posts on Instagram. So, yeah. And yeah, so that is how I came across Kafka on the Shore. And at the time, I was told that I would be in for one of the wildest rides of my life. So I was very excited and I just dived into Kafka on the Shore faster than Michael Phelps getting the Olympic medals. All right. So, yeah. And like I was reading Kafka on the Shore and I just got grossed out when that incident happened with Kafka and like the curator of the library. I was like, no, this is not working. So I stopped. And Kafka on the Shore lay on my bookshelf, and it was there, and it was, well, like, the white eyed cat was staring at me. And see, I want to be a cat person, but like, cats don't want me to be a cat person. And my book club admin is going to kill me. But anyway, but like, yeah, so like, and I'm getting creepy stares from a cat on a cover of a book. So, and then at the time, I was friends with someone, and I was like, you know what? So this person was a good friend of mine. So I was like, you know what? Like, so I had this thing that like I would sometimes, I still do actually. I mean, I sometimes give a book from my library to certain select friends. I mean, I don't want to sound like a Nazi, but like it's one of those things where I'm like, you mean a lot to me. And like, again, I'm going to quote Devil May Cry 4 here. I hope you're listening, Udayan. So I'm going to quote Devil May Cry 4 here because right at the end of Devil May Cry 4, when like Nero gives Dante Yamato and says this belongs to you, and Dante says, why don't you keep it, kid? And Nero is like, I thought this meant a lot to you. And Dante says, yes, that is the only kind of gift worth giving. So he gives his brother's sword to Nero. And of course, we all know who Nero is now that 11 years later, Devil May Cry 5 is out. But getting back to Kafka and not turning this into Devil May Cry obsession. Sorry, Udayan, I know you were waiting for this. So yeah, I gave this friend of mine my copy of Kafka on the Shore. Yeah, as a gesture of goodwill. I'm like, I just literally reached out. I mean, it was on that shelf where you can see Good Omens and all that. And like, I literally reached out, I grabbed it, and I was like, hey, dude, hey, dudette, rather. I believe the term is dudette. Hey, dudette, just, you know what? Keep this book, all right? I mean, take it. Like, it's yours. And like, I got a very weird, like, I mean, it was very unexpected. Like, it was just, I was randomly talking about the weather, and the next minute, I'm giving this person a book. So, um, yeah. And this person was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Take it. Take it, read it, have fun with it." And obviously, thanks were exchanged and stuff. So that copy left my library. And 10 years later, I read Norwegian Wood again and it blew me away. And as it so happens, Srija was at the time um, discovering my library. And one of the books that I told Srija to read was The Night Circus, which, as you know, is special to me because it's the memory of one of my friends who is no longer with us, who has passed away. So, I gave it to Srija, and then what happened was that at the time that Srija came to my place, Srija was reading Kafka on the Shore and was enjoying it immensely. Now, Srija and I have this thing where we are somewhat in sync with the literature that we are into. So, I mean, if it's a book that's I like, that I think Srija will like, Srija is like, okay, he's recommending it, so let me give it a shot. Right. So, and I extend the same respect. So, if Srija recommends a book to me and says that, you're gonna like this book, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. So Srija has a very interesting habit. Wherever she goes, she carries a bag, and in that bag, inevitably, there's a book. So, I always ask this question if I can remember, like, hey, what book? What is the book in your bag? So yeah, and like Srija was like, yeah, it's Kafka on the Shore. So I'm like reading Kafka on the Shore, and I'm really liking it, and like, so then I told Srija this story that, like, I went to 10 years ago. I was in Durgapur Mall, and I picked up Kafka on the Shore, and this is my experience with Kafka on the Shore. And then this is my experience with Norwegian Wood. And then Srija just said, you know, mm, I'll gift you Kafka on the Shore. I think that Kafka on the Shore should belong to you. And Srija took the night circus, read it to bits. I am damn sure she enjoyed it to bits because, well, she texted me about it. At first, she was hesitant, and then suddenly, like, it just cast a spell on her, and we were discussing it at length. And like, it was me reliving a lot of memories because Night Circus is special to me. So we made a blood pact, Sija and I, whereupon um, I was to gift her a copy of the Night Circus, and she told me, I'll gift you a copy of Kafka on the Shore. And we honored that blood pact. So, 10 years after losing it, Kafka on the Shore is back in my library. Now, the obvious question is, have I read it? Yes, I have. I have opened it and I have read it. But unfortunately, I do not think it is working for me, to be honest, because, well, I just have to adjust the lavalier. Yeah, so I don't think it's working for me because, once again, I'm facing a barrier when I get to that library scene. I just can't seem to get past it. All right, so I don't know. I mean, am I ready to read Kafka on the Shore? Or is it just one of those books that just wants to be with me, I mean, well, I bought it, I tried to read it, I kept it, I gave it to somebody. 10 years later, somebody else who's special to me, CJ is special to me, gave it back to me. Kafka Tamura clearly wants to be a part of the Bilgemaster's library for reasons unknown. to the Binge Master. But if Kafka Tamura wants a place in my library, and if Kafka Tamura has decided to go through such lengths to be in my library, Kafka Tamura can be in my library, and thereby hangs a tale. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you the story of this little incident, mm, because I don't know, just seemed an interesting story to tell. So now that I've told it, I hope you've enjoyed it. I do not know when you'll be seeing this face again, because right now I'm working on multiple projects, and there is some pressure from work as well, my career side stuff, my job. So, uh, um, so there is some writing going on. I'm focusing on the book, and like yeah, so you know, curating short stories for the book club I'm a member of, plus narrating short stories on Clubhouse. You can maybe come around to Clubhouse sometime, hear me perform there. So lots going on. Better place mentally, in a better place mentally, thank God. And like, yeah, just living 24 hours a day. Thought I would tell you about Kafka Tamura coming back to me. I have. And like, I've been going on for 16 minutes about this. I think it's time I stopped. So, what do you think? What do you think of this story? I mean, has it ever happened to you that you've let a book go and like it's come back to you? Because it's one of those love story tropes, right? Srija, you're gonna kill me, aren't you? Because it's like one of those love story tropes, isn't it? You love someone, set them free, they'll come back to you, that shit. Yeah, you know what, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm not sleepy, so just roll your story. I'll see you again sometime. May the force be with you. Also, Neil Gaiman's Sandman adaptation. Please watch. Please. If for nothing else, Matthew the Raven. Matthew the Raven. Just for that. Just watch. And a little episode called The Sound of Her Wings. The Sound of Her Wings is like literally the best TV episode I have ever seen. And yes, I'm biased towards Sandman, but I'm trying to be objective as Bagadol right now. The Sound of Her Wings is a brilliant episode. So yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. I am shutting up. Good night, people, and I will see you when I see you. This is the Bills Master signing off.